All right, Bell Tire back to the JWHL. Game 3, Bell Tire 1-0-1. Starting us out this morning against Stansted is going to be Felucci, Dewar, Kazarowski, Martin, and Mackenzie Flanagan. Streeter in net for this morning. That puck sent down deep by Mackenzie Flanagan behind the Stansted net. And coming wide is Stansted. This is going to be defended by Martin. And that puck floating around out front, makes its way out. Missed opportunity pass by Stansted, going wide. Kazarowski trying to get a stick on it. Gets a little tip on it. Shot in. Tipped down, blocked by Martin or Streeter. And Stansted passing down to the half wall. Now down deep into the Bell Tire zone. Trying to be picked free. Hewer jumping in to help out. Picked up by Kazarowski. That's going to go the length. We're going to have an icing. 16:03 on the clock. Bell Tire line change is going to bring in Dobbs, Markovich, Agbe, Morton, Caitlin Flanagan. Dobbs on the draw. Puck is down. Stansted with possession. Sliding it deep into the corner for Bell Tire zone. Picked up by Morton. Now Dobbs in to help. Markovich on the half wall there. Sent down behind the Bell Tire net. Picked up by Caitlin Flanagan. Moving it ahead. Intercepted by Stansted on the wall. Picked up on by Morton behind her own net. Now Stansted. Chased by Dobbs. Stansted circling the blue. Trying to send it in. Blocked by Markovich. Stansted going back up top. Centering pass deflected by Agbe down into the corner of Bell Tire zone. Pushed out by Markovich up to the half wall. Collected by Stansted. Sent across. Agbe applying pressure. Now down behind the Bell Tire net. Picked up by Markovich. And Agbe is going to send that down for an icing. Mackenzie Flanagan in on this line change with Bowman, Evans, Cummins, Cruciano. Evans on the draw. Puck is down and collected in by Stansted at the dot. Shot in, goes wide of the net. Can be picked up by Clemens on the half wall. Clemens moving up. Clemens chipping it ahead to Evans. Evans getting it chipped into the zone. And now down behind the Stansted net they go. Stansted with possession, coming across ice up into neutral. They're going to dump deep down into the Bell Tire zone. This is going to be chased around by Mackenzie Flanagan into the corner. Picked up by Cruciano. Cruciano pinning it up against the boards, the half wall, waiting for support. Evans jumping in to help push the Stansted players off. And Cruciano comes free with the puck. She moved up 1 foot, and they're stuck on the wall again. A little more than hockey happening down there as well. Puck pushed out to the blue line. Shot in, blocked by Bowman. Sent down into the corner. Stansted going back up top to their point. D-to-D pass. Shot in. Is going to get blocked and go wide of the net. And they're going to try again here. Shot in. Is blocked by somebody. And we are going to go on a penalty kill here. Penalty on Mackenzie. We're going to keep that puck in the Bell Tire zone. Caitlin Flanagan, Martin, Dobbs, and Agbe out on this PK. Bell Tire, 13:59 on the clock, 2 minutes on the penalty. Stansted with possession, up top to their point. And across, D-to-D passing happening. Walking in, and cleared out by Caitlin. That puck's going to roll down into the Stansted zone and allow them to reset here. Bell Tire getting the PK line set back up. Dobbs disrupting the play. Stansted going up to their point. Girls just keeping them at bay here. Stansted going across. Agbe there disrupting that play. Passed across, picked up by Martin. Martin going up the boards and getting that puck up into Stanstead regains possession. Shot in, gets tipped, goes into the glass. Picked up, Martin shoves it up the boards. It's going to end up at the point. And back across. Martin to defend, gets her stick on it. And that puck is going to not quite make it out. So Martin on the block, and it looked like Dobbs tried to clear. Shot in, gloved by Streeter. Bell Tire line change is going to bring out Hewer and Palucci, with Caitlin and Martin remaining in on D. 55 seconds on this penalty kill remaining. 12:54 on the clock. Hewer on the draw. Let's go. Puck is down. Stanstead going up to their point. Settles that puck down, goes D to D. Palucci on the defense here. Now Martin. And Stanstead trying to go back and forth. Picked up by Palucci now. Palucci's just going to send it to length. And Stanstead's going to chase down into their own zone. They got a floater back here that they're picking up. Going D to D here, coming up through neutral. Disrupted by Hewer on a big stick. Hewer now applying more pressure. 20 seconds remaining on this penalty kill. Stanstead now steaming ahead through neutral into the zone. Defended by Martin here. Centering pass, blocked aside. Tipped out, now up top. Shot in, goes wide of the net. Picked up down low. Centering pass again. Cleared out, picked up by Flanagan. Flanagan moving up and dumping it deep into the Stanstead zone as that time expired on the penalty kill. Bell Tire back at full strength. 11:51 on the clock. Stanstead circling in their own zone. Markovich, Dobbs, Agbe, Martin, Morton out on for Bell Tire. Dobbs chipping it ahead and picked up by Agbe momentarily. Now Stanstead. And Mackenzie Flanagan checked back in on defense here with Morton. That puck misses its mark, goes to Dobbs in a big collision there on the wall. Dobbs coming free, shoving it ahead, keeping it out of the zone. Chipped into neutral as they go for a change. Evans jumping in with Cruciano and Clemens. That puck sent deep into the Bell Tire zone, chased down by Mackenzie. Mackenzie sending it ahead. That's be on net, quite on net. So that'll go down for an icing and we'll freeze play with 11:03 on the clock. Back down into the Bell Tire zone. Evans on the draw. Puck is down. Stanstead with possession. Shot in. Covered up by Streeter. All right, repeat. Evans, Stanstead with possession, trying to shift it ahead. Clemens intercepts the pass. Clemens on a breakout through and gets it dumped deep into the Stanstead zone as she chases around their net. Going up the wall. That rolls past the stick of Morton, picked up by Mackenzie. Mackenzie up to Evans. Evans shifting it ahead, looking for Clemens. Sent back down to the Bell Tire zone, picked up by Mackenzie. Mackenzie at the half wall. Going down into the neutral zone. Going to dump it deep as Bell Tire goes for a line change. Out jumps Bowman. Hewer. Palucci. Wide goes Stanstead, gaining the zone. Centering pass disrupted by Hewer. Chipped up ahead for Stanstead. Down deep into the corner. Bowman to chase. Behind the Bell Tire net. Up top, Stanstead walking in. Slot shot. Turned aside by Streeter. Out to the corner. Down and goes Hewer. Battling for the puck. And with Mackenzie Flanagan. Hewer trying to walk out with it. Chipped up the boards. Up to Stanstead's point. D to D they go. Circling back to their point. Now dumping it down deep into the corner. Around the net. Picked up by Flanagan. Flanagan going up to the half wall to Kazarowski. Kazarowski going to chip it ahead. Palucci in a foot race down into the Stanstead zone. Palucci chasing into the corner behind the Stanstead net. Palucci with some hard work. Freezing that play down in their zone momentarily. Now picked up by Dobbs. Bell Tire line change is going to bring out Martin, Caitlin Flanagan, Markovich. Dobbs, Markovich gets her stick on it, keep it in the zone momentarily. Now chipped ahead, picked up by Dobbs. Dobbs is going to send it back down deep. It's going to go into the Stansted zone. 9:14 on the clock. Chased down by Agbe. And Evans checking in. That puck skips past the stick to Flanagan, rolls down, icing wave. Foot race, she's going to chip it around to, not Martin, Agbe. Agbe is going to backhand it down the ice. It's not going to make it down for an icing, but it's going to give Evans a foot race. Stansted with possession now coming up ice. Centering pass, Flexen goes in, blocked by Martin. Martin on her backhand, walking up the boards at half wall, tipping it up. That puck makes its way down, and Cruciano's going to step in, get it off the half wall, and she wins a foot race. Battling is Cruciano, and Evans stepping in to help. Cruciano now frozen on the half wall. Evans, this is the same position we were in about 2 minutes ago. And we are going to get a penalty on that one. So that should be a power play for Bell Tire. We're going to go on to the power play here. 8:21 on the clock. Bell Tire power play is going to bring out Dobbs, Markovich, Agbe, Martin, and Mackenzie Flanagan. Bell Tire looking to put this game up by 1 here. Puck is not down. Ref was faking out. Now it's still not down. Looks like the clock was running here. So they are resetting here. There's already 6 seconds off the clock. Let's see how they get this reset. All right, clock reset to 2 minutes. We'll get going here now. Puck is down. Down in the corner. Agbe battling hard into the corner. Trying to get it out. Flanagan catches that attempt at an ice. Sends it across to Markovich. Markovich to Flanagan. Flanagan shot in. He's going to be loose in front of the net. And it's picked back up by Stansted there. Martin with it. Chopped down at her feet. Martin walking in. Martin with her stick held. And Stansted able to get that puck clear down. And it's played up by Streeter to Mackenzie. Mackenzie coming up ice. Going out wide to Markovich. Markovich letting it slide through into center ice. Picked up by almost Agbe. Agbe gets her stick on it. Now trying to push it wide. That puck goes deep down into the Stansted zone. Stansted with possession. And Stansted's just going to send that down deep into the Bell Tire zone where Mackenzie will pick it up. Mackenzie's going to look up ice. Hit to Hewer. Hewer on with Kazarowski and Palucci. Hewer gaining the Stansted zone. Stansted with possession now. Kazarowski trying to disrupt play. That's going to come down deep. Martin on the hunt. Martin with it at her feet. Pushing it out to Caitlin. Caitlin going up to Hewer. Hewer chipping up to Kazarowski. Kazarowski going to gain just over neutral line. That's going to come back down into the Bell Tire zone. Be picked up by Martin behind her net. Martin walking up the net, up the wall, chipping it up to Hewer. And it collected back in by Stansted. Stansted's just going to waste time here as they go down to their zone and push it back into the Bell Tire zone. Stansted now with possession behind the Bell Tire net, defended by Martin. And Stansted's just going to shove it out into neutral again. They're going to just take off the next 12 seconds of power play time here. At the feet of Stansted, picked up by Martin. Martin turning up ice. She's going to send it in on net. It's going to bounce out and be collected in by Stansted as they go back onto even strength. Martin defending here. And it's a stick of Flanagan on a pass. That's going to be a penalty on Palucci. I think there was a little bit of dramatics there by Stansted, but nevertheless, Bell Tire is going to go on to a penalty kill. So penalty kill is going to bring out Agbay, Dobbs, and the Flanagans. All right, 2 minutes on for Palucci. Puck is down. Up top, point to point goes Stansted. Downed into the corner. Shot in. Wide of the net, picked up at the point. Down the half wall. Cycling to Stansted. Stansted gaining the slot. Going across. That backdoor shot is going to put Stansted up 1-0. So Bell Tire will be back at even strength here. Score is 1-0 Stansted. And Bell Tire is going to come back out like they did against Naha. All right, Clemens, Evans, Cruciano, Mackenzie, Flanagan, and Morton on ice for Bell Tire. 5:40 on the clock. Stansted in their own zone with possession. Going D to D, coming up through neutral, now center ice. Gaining the zone, chased by Clemens. Stansted goes wide, centering pass. Disrupted by Evans. Stansted behind the Bell Tire net, picked up by Flanagan. Dump pass by Stansted, back down to the corner. Evans going hard in to disrupt the play. That puck goes up the wall. Stansted goes D to D. Shot in, turned aside by Streeter. Picked up at the half wall by Stansted. Disrupted by Morton. Morton trying to get it chipped out. Stansted dumps it back down deep. Mackenzie sends it the other direction. Looking for Cruciano. Cruciano met with the Stansted player at the half wall. And that goes back down deep. Mackenzie backhanding up to Clemens. Clemens battling down here in the half wall and now back down behind the Bell Tire net. And that centering pass is going to find the back of the net, putting them up 2. All right, Bell Tire. On that goal, we're going to have a line change, bringing out Hewer, Kazarowski, Palucci, Bowman, and Martin. Puck is frozen at center ice. Stansted now with possession, gaining the Bell Tire zone, defended by Bowman. And now down behind the Bell Tire net, chased by Martin. Now Kazarowski gets her stick on it, glove down by Martin. Martin with possession, tying it up in the corner, coming free. Martin walking out. Martin going up to Palucci. And down the wall goes Stansted. Centering pass, intercepted by Kazarowski. Kazarowski looking up ice. Going up, finding Palucci. Chipped into the Stansted zone, down behind their net, played by their goalie. Palucci's going to chase. Up to the wall and coming across. Picked up by Bowman. Bowman going back up the wall in neutral. Stansted gaining possession. Hewer battling. Down against the wall here, just inside the Bell Tire zone. Palucci stepped in as well to help. And trying to pick that puck free. And Stansted's telling on our girls for holding their stick. All right, Palucci is going to dump it deep. Icing wave, played by Stansted's goalie. Line change for Bell Tire. Brings out the Flanagans, Markovich, Dobbs, Agbay. Errant pass goes into neutral, picked up by Dobbs. Dobbs is going to chip it ahead. Too many. And picked now free by Agbay. Agbay with a little bit of room. Agbay shot is going to be bouncing around. Almost had her own shot and own rebound. Picked up by Flanagan. It's going to go out of the zone and sent back across by Mackenzie to Caitlin. Chipped in off of Markovich, and that's going to go down deep into the Stansted zone. That's going to miss its mark and roll down for an icing on Stansted. So we will have 2 minutes and 51 seconds on this clock. Clemens, Evans, Cruciano, and the Flanagans in for Bell Tire. Puck is down at the half wall. Cruciano trying to get that puck deep. Evans now picks it up, goes up top to Cruciano. Cruciano goes to McKenzie. McKenzie shot in, is blockered up in the air, and goes over the net. Sent back down to Caitlin. Caitlin shot in, makes its way in. Turned aside by the goalie, picked up by Evans, down in the corner of the Stansted zone. Clemens is going to come in a little hard there. I think a little bit of acting as well, and Clemens is going to get a penalty to put Bell Tire back onto a penalty kill with 2:24 remaining in the game. Or I'm sorry, in the period. All right, for Bell Tire on this penalty kill is going to be Dobbs, Agbe, Flanagan, and Martin. Dobbs on the draw. Puck is down. Stansted with possession. Up to their point. D to D. Back to their D. Sliding into the slot. Picked up at the half wall. Martin chasing. Stansted going back up top. Now down low. Shot in. Turned aside by Streeter. Up to the half wall. Picked up by Stansted. Stansted going back in. Disrupted by Dobbs. Now Agbe. Up top pass. Into the slot. Down low. Shot in. Goes off a skate. And goes wide to the half wall. Picked back up by Stansted. Bell Tire just circling here. Just containing. Down low. It's going to go to the corner. Chased down by Flanagan. Now behind the net. Martin to jump. Picked up by Stansted. In center. And that turn shot goes wide of the net. This is going to be picked up by Flanagan and pop up into the air. It's going to go down deep into the corner. Picked up by Martin. Martin battling here on the ball. Picked up by Dobbs. Shot up top. And that puck is blocked out by Stansted. That's going to go out of the zone. 52 seconds remaining on the Clemens penalty in neutral. Stansted circling. Colucci, Hewer in. Caitlin, Flanagan, Martin on D. Stansted circling. Hits the stick of Flanagan. Picked back up at the half wall by Stansted. Circling the zone. Dobbs trying to disrupt play. Coming out wide. Martin jumping in. Puck goes wide of the net. Picked up by Palucci. Down to the corner. Now Martin chipping it ahead to Palucci. And that's going to get sent the length of the ice. Go off a Stansted skate. 22 seconds remaining in this penalty kill for Bell Tire. Stansted coming up quickly through neutral. And we're going to have puck go up top to the point. Now going D to D. Lots of mess happening in front of the net. We've got Caitlin Flanagan with two Stansted players, and that's going to be the end. Bell Tire's going to go back into full strength. Clemens jumping back into the ice here, going around wide. It's going to be picked up by Martin. Martin going off the boards, looking for Hewer. And Stansted coming back up through. Hewer trying to get her stick on it. Shot in is deflected and caught by Streeter. Freeze play. All right, as we get going here, Agbe, Markovich, Dobbs, Caitlin, and Martin on ice. Puck is down. Agbe going back to Flanagan. Flanagan off the boards. That's going to be the end of the period. All right, so we are going to go for a momentary break here. As the coaches give some words. we get going here, McKenzie, Martin, Agbe, Markovich, Dobbs on ice. And Stansted with possession coming up through neutral. Defended by Martin. Martin gets that puck down into the corner. And Stansted regains possession, sending it around. Is he going to be sent down into the corner, sent up into the slot, picked free. That's covered up. That's a hand pass. Come on now. All right, Martin is going to have possession. She's going to go off the glass, find Agbe. Agbe is going to keep it moving out into neutral, and that's going to be picked up by Stansted as they circle neutral, pushing it back ahead. This is defended by McKenzie. Sending it up top. Shot in. Blocked out by Streeter. Picked up by Martin. Martin now with possession is going to send it down, and that's going to be collected in by Stansted at the point. And frozen at the half wall. Picked free by Agbe. Agbe moving up ice, now down into neutral. Picked up by Stansted. Stansted gaining his own. Defended by Flanagan. Martin gets a stick on it, sends it to the corner. Up to the half wall, picked up by Palucci. Palucci's going to send it to the length, and that'll be an icing. All right, as we get going again here, Hewer out there with Palucci, Kazarovski, Bowman, and Caitlin Flanagan. Shot in, blocked by Streeter. 15:42 in the second period of play. Hewer on the draw. Puck is down. Stansted with possession now, going down, picked up by Palucci. Missed opportunity pass by Stansted, sends it ahead. This is going to be picked up by Kazarovski. Kazarovski centering pass, blocked by Stansted. Palucci trying to jump in and help pick it free. And Palucci gets hammered down there in the corner. Up into the half wall. That puck's going to get sent ahead. I'm not sure what happened behind the play there, but that's going to be on Palucci. The Beltire is going to go back onto a penalty kill. This will be Dobbs and Agbe out there with Martin and McKenzie. Dobbs on the draw. 2 minutes on the penalty. Picked up by McKenzie, sent up to Agbe. Agbe trying to send it out, and does. It's going to go out into the Stansted zone, and Beltire's going to circle here. Up at the line, McKenzie Flanagan jumping in at the half wall, collected in by Stansted, point to point. Down to the other half wall. Shot in, turned aside by Martin. Goes behind the net. And Flanagan down in the corner. Stansted up to their point. Chased by Dobbs. That puck rolls out of the zone. Sent across by Stansted. Making a move, gains the zone. And that is blocked up by Streeter. .113. Hewer and Markovich stepping in for Beltire. All right, Hewer on the draw here. Puck is down at the dot, picked up by Stansted, sent back to their point. Going across, shot in. Covered up by Streeter. You are on the draw again here. 1:05 on the penalty clock. Puck is down. Stansted with possession, going across. Going wide into the slot. That puck was blocked by somebody. I have no idea who. I didn't see it. That shot in. That missed opportunity by Stansted goes wide. And is at the half wall, picked up by Stansted up at their point. Going D to D. Back D to D. Stansted walking in. Centering pass. Misplayed. Back up to the point. Going down low. Stansted cycling. Hewer trying to get her stick on it. Martin stepping in. Tripped up on the play. Gets that puck out. And Hewer is going to be able to send it the length of the ice. That'll give an opportunity for a line change here quickly as Dobbs and Agbe step back in for Beltire, along with Caitlin Flanagan. That's picked up by Agbe at neutral. Agbe, quick move around. Agbe gaining. Agbe, backhand just goes wide of the net. Agbe down in the corner. Now Dobbs. Dobbs' shot's going to go over the net and go behind, and now Stansted's going to pick up possession here. Great opportunity and effort by Agbe as that penalty runs clean, and this is defended by Martin, and she gets it wide of the net. That's sent out front, picked up by Agbe. Agbe chipping it up to Kazarowski. Kazarowski now gaining neutral, sending it in on net. It's going to go behind the net. Kazarowski's going to pick up her own pass, looking for a centering pass. Beltire defensive line change brings out Caitlin and Morton. Going up to neutral, picked up by Morton. Morton off the boards, trying to hit Evans in stride, who's out there with Kazarowski and Cruciano. Evans now picked up by Morton. Morton sends it ahead to Cruciano. Cruciano's going to dump in and go to work. Morton all the way down here below the net as Evans is dropped back, covering Morton when she had an opportunity to go. She took it. Now Stansted behind the net, chased by Cruciano and Clemens. Up to the half wall goes Stansted into neutral. Stansted shifting it ahead. They're going to call it tipped, no icing. Chased down by Morton into the corner. She's going to freeze it up and wait for Evans to pick it free. Evans does pick it free and goes to work against Stansted in the corner. Morton, Evans in the corner. Stansted coming out with the puck now down into the corner again, and that's going to get sent out and go D to D by Stansted. Stansted dropping it down low. On back looking for a slot pass. Misses its mark. Into the corner. Picked up by Evans and Caitlin Flanagan. Down in the corner. Evans got two Stansted players on her. Stansted comes out with the puck. Centering opportunity is not taken. And Stansted now circling down in the Beltire zone. Behind their net again. Centering pass, turned aside, I think, by Streeter's stick. That's going to get hit and finally make its way out by Cruciano. That's going to go the length. Beltire with a needed line change. Stansted goes wide. And coming up top. Gotta love the yelling for too many men when nobody's touched the puck. Okay. So centering pass is turned aside, covered up by Streeter. As we have Dobbs, Agbe, Markovich out there with McKenzie, Flanagan, and Bowman. All right, that puck is down. McKenzie Flanagan with possession, sending it up the half wall to Markovich. Markovich's going to send it down. It's going to go wide of the net for an icing. 10:46 on this clock. All right, we get going again. Dobbs on this draw. Puck is down, stuck at the dot. Stansted with possession now up to their point. Going down to the half wall. Walking in, short angled shot. Missed and went wide of the net. Sending it back up top to their point. Shot in, blocked by Streeter. And now covered up by Streeter to freeze play. With 10 minutes and 30 seconds. They're on 29 seconds on the clock. Kazarowski, Hewer, Bellucci stepping out with Martin and Flanagan, Caitlin on this line change for Beltire. Need a little spark from Beltire here. It's their only game of the day, and we want to win. As we jump back into action here, that shot is going to go high up into the netting and out of the rink. Hewer on the draw. Puck is down, frozen at the dot, picked free by Martin. Martin moving up, and Martin hitting the brakes and sending it around for Flanagan. And now Martin picking it back up, going the opposite way. Going to freeze it on the boards. Looking for help. And that puck sent around, picked up by Palucci. Palucci's going to go rink wide, looking for Kazarowski. Picked now back up by Martin. Martin sending it ahead for Kazarowski. Kazarowski's going to get it into the zone. There's going to be a foot race. Palucci on the hunt. Palucci using that speed, picked up now by Hewer. Palucci now with possession. Palucci sending it back the other way, looking for Kazarowski, who is going for a change. That puck's going to go deep into the Stansted zone, going behind their net. After he picked up by Cruciano, who's going to work. Now Hewer. Hewer dropping it all the way back for Martin. Martin going across to Flanagan. Flanagan's going to send it in, and that puck chipped down by Palucci. Holy shit, that was a bad hit on Palucci. All right, Palucci's up.
Open your eyes.
All right, Palucci is up and skating out on her own power, so she is good. It was a big hit. So we're going to get going back again here with Evans on ice for Cruciano, Clemens, Martin, and Caitlin Flanagan. Evans on the draw. Puck is down. Stansted coming free with it. Coming up through neutral. This is going to be defended by Martin and Clemens. Are you kidding me? They're going to call Clemens. What are we doing? Parents getting a little frustrated here at the calls that are happening. Beltire now, I think this is their 6th penalty. Clemens on an interference call there. A little shocking to me, but we're going to keep going. Beltire's on their PK line here with 2 minutes on the clock. 9:18 on the period. Puck is down. Stansted with possession, sending it across. And that puck sent wide of the net, picked up by Streeter as it bounces off the back wall and she covers. And sorry, I keep turning the camera. I'm not trying to get the entire stands, but you guys are seeing a lot of it. Hopefully you can see the game well enough. All right, puck's up top for Stansted. Defended by Dobbs. Now Martin. Martin pushing her wide. Keeping him contained. That's going to go back up top for Stansted. Stansted sending it back down low. They're going to go back up top here. Nope, just joking. They're going to go back down low. Quick pass down low and back up top to their point. Defended by Dobbs. Now defended by Agbe and Dobbs. Down low. Back up to their point. And gloved by Streeter. All right. Line change is going to bring out Palucci and Hewer. Martin and McKenzie remaining on D. 1:18 on the penalty clock. Up top goes Stansted. And down low, centering pass. Missed its mark. Palucci backhanding. Trying to get it out of the zone. Up top, collected in by Stansted. Stansted going back again. Shot in. Wide of the net. Whistle blown to freeze play. We're going to have a draw happening inside the Beltire zone with 57 seconds remaining on the penalty. All right, Hewer on this draw. Caitlin Flanagan checked in on D. Puck is down. Flanagan sends it back to Martin. Martin's going to rim it around looking for Palucci. Stansted gets to the half wall. Martin stepped in. Martin battling down in the corner. Now behind the Beltire net is Stansted going up top to their point. And Stansted defended by Caitlin Flanagan here. Caitlin. Stansted in the corner. Caitlin's going to pin him up against the corner, and Stansted's going to go back up top. Going across. Down low. That play is now cleared, and that's going to be 15 seconds remaining here. The Beltire's going to go for a line change. Agbe Dobbs stepping back out. Stansted behind their net. 10 seconds on the Clemens penalty. Sent cross ice. 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Clemens out of the box. Caitlin down in the corner. Martin behind the Bell Tire net, sending it ahead. Picked up by Dobbs. Stanstead sends it back down. Martin pinned in the corner. Martin trying to keep it pinned while Dobbs steps in to help. Stanstead up top. Going across. Markovich on ice for Bell Tire. Pass intercepted and played out by Dobbs and Agbe. Back up top for Stanstead. Now down to the half wall. Centering pass. Disrupted by Agbe. Shot in. Blocked by Streeter, I believe, and goes up top for Stanstead. Back across, down low. Martin gets her stick on that pass and flips the girl into the boards as she goes down. Stanstead behind the Bell Tire net, misses the pass, and that puck gets sent back out by Bell Tire, collected in by Dobbs, who now sends it to length. That'll go down for an icing. All right, Bell Tire line change. 6:22 on the clock. Bell Tire's fought off 5 or 6 penalties at this point. Score is 2-0, Stanstead, but Bell Tire is very much in this game. They got to be able to convince the refs to let us keep 5 players on the ice. All right, Hewer around. Morton. Morton's going to push it up. Find Evans in stride. Evans walking in. Shot. Gets deflected over the net. And Cruciano there to help. Morton stepped in. Morton keeping that puck in the zone. Well played by Morton. Evans now putting pressure on Stanstead. I think Bell Tire is now a little playing with some new intensity here. Cruciano met at the half wall. Stepped in. Clemens able to get her stick on that. That's going to roll down into neutral. Picked up by Mackenzie Flanagan. Mackenzie going wide to Morton. Morton backhanded up to Cruciano. Cruciano trying to chip it through. Evans coming in. And down to the ice, Stanstead goes. Morton's going to just bowl through it all and get that puck into the Stanstead zone where Palucci's there to chase. All right, Stanstead now playing a little frenzied, missing passes, and they're going to send that to length. No icing. Collected in by Flanagan. Flanagan's going to send it up and find Kazarowski. Kazarowski with a little bit of a break. Kazarowski's shot is going to be covered up by Stanstead's goalie. Great shot by Kazarowski there with 5:09 remaining in this period. Bell Tire line change is going to bring out Kazarowski, Hewer, Palucci, Caitlin Flanagan, and Bowman. Puck is down. Stanstead behind their net. Kazarowski on the hunt. Up to the half wall. Palucci getting her stick on it. Stanstead coming up through neutral. Gaining the zone. Shot in. Wide of the net. Picked up by Hewer. Hewer moving it ahead for Kazarowski. Kazarowski trying to send it down. Collected by Stanstead. Stanstead point to point. Shot. Gloved by Streeter. All right, Hewer on the draw. Puck is down. Stuck at the dot. Hewer tied up. Picked free by Bowman. Bowman trying to walk out with it. Bowman comes free. Trying to go cross ice. Looking for Kazarowski. Intercepted by Stanstead. Stanstead gains the Bell Tire zone. Circling. Going up top to their point. Pushing it across. Another missed pass. Telling you, Bell Tire. Stanstead's shaking right now. We got to take advantage at the half wall. Going up to the point. Now back down to the half wall. Palucci loses her stick in the process. Bowman's going to pin it up against the corner. Waiting for help. Caitlin Flanagan now behind the net. Stepping in. That puck. No idea where that puck is. The puck was stuck in the webbing behind the net. Bell Tire line change is going to bring out Agbe, Dobbs, Markovich, Martin, Mackenzie Flanagan. We have 4:09 on the clock. Dobbs on the draw. Down to Martin. Martin going around, finding Markovich at the half wall. Stanstead stepping in. Markovich keeping it pushed forward, gets it out to neutral. Chased by Agbe. Sent back down deep by Stanstead. Mackenzie in the corner. Dobbs jumping in. And that puck's finally going to make its way free. Sent around to Martin. That hit her skate. And a centering pass shot wide of the net. covered by not covered by Connie. Martin's going to send it up the boards. It's going to be collected in by Stansted. They're going to go down low. That pass tipped by Martin. Martin at the half wall, keeping that puck frozen. Now down into the corner. Centering pass by Stansted is going to get covered up by Streeter. 3 minutes and 23 seconds on the clock. Bell Tire's keeping out their same personnel. I don't know if y'all can see Mr. Andrew Agbe getting into this BC Boys song down in the corner over here. All right. Bell Tire is going to get that puck almost out of the zone. That's going to go wide, and it's going to stay in by Stansted. Picked up by McKenzie in the corner. Half wall, Stansted goes back up to their point. D-to-D pass. Agbe getting a stick on it to disrupt that pass. Back up top, Stansted resetting. Sending it in. Shipped up over top of the net, I believe, by Stansted or Martin. Getting their stick on that. This is going to bring in a line change for Bell Tire. Evans, Cruciano, Clemens, Morton, Caitlin Flanagan. As we restart, Evans on the draw. Stansted picking it out of the dot, sending it back to their point. Sending it across, picked up by Flanagan. Flanagan moving it up the wall. I think that's Evans stepped in there as well. Flanagan now going to backhand it out of the zone and get that down. That is not going to make it for icing. Clemens in a foot race. Gets down to the corner now. Cruciano trying to stop it on the boards behind the net. Stansted picking it free, coming out. Clemens getting her stick on it, disrupting play. Stansted shot in, turned aside by Streeter, who's having one hell of a game. Going up top, finding Evans. Evans moving it ahead. Evans with a little bit of a, just barely had the step. Stansted stepping back into the Bell Tire zone, hitting the brakes at the half wall. Cruciano there to disrupt. Flanagan trying to clear it free. And now picked up by Hewer. Hewer's going to go off the boards and go into neutral. Stansted with possession going D to D. I guess they don't call icing here, so that's okay. We're going to chip that ahead by Flanagan to Hewer. Hewer's going to, and it's tipped free, so Kazarowski's going to chase. Going to get there just at the same time in battle here behind the net. As Bell Tire went for a line change, bringing out Hewer, Palucci, Kazarowski, Bowman, and Mackenzie Flanagan.
There you go.
All right, as we get going here, that was blown dead for just to stop play, get it reset here. This will be a face-off just inside the Bell Tire zone. Looks like we got a broken stick coming off the ice here for Bell Tire. I'm not sure whose that was, but somebody won a lucky $350 stick. Sending it in. That shot by McKenzie is blocked out to neutral. Chipped ahead by Stansted. And they missed the net. Sorry, I wasn't quite on camera for that. I apologize. That shot went over top of the net. Streeter standing tall in that net. Coming in. That puck goes across blue. Picked up by Kazarowski, who's going to chip it ahead. Collected by Stansted. Stansted walking back in the slot. Pass misses its mark. That shot goes high into the netting to freeze play with 49.7 seconds remaining in the second period. All right, line change for Bell Tire is going to bring out Dobbs, Markovich, Agbe, Bowman, Martin. Dobbs on the draw. Puck is down. Stansted with possession. Chipped ahead. Markovich trying to get a step on it. That's sent back in. Collected and covered by Streeter. 33, 39, 40 seconds on this clock. Dobbs on the draw. Puck is down. Stansted up at their point. Dropping it down to the half wall. Sent across to the slot, picked up by Agbe. Now on the dot, circling around. Stansted going wide. Bounce off the half wall. Stansted circling down to the corner. Off the skate of Martin. Martin gets a stick on it. That gets sent back up to Stansted. Stansted's shot is going to hit the post and go wide. Stansted centering pass. Turned aside. Picked up by Markovic. Markovic up to Agbe. Agbe trying to jump through. Gets picked off at the neutral, and that'll freeze play here in the second period. We will go to an ice cut. We're going to have a break here for 10 minutes, and we'll be back with the third period. As Bell Tire comes off, we're going to get some motivational words from the coaching staff. All right, here we go. Third period. Bell Tire hockey. 17 minutes. Hewer, Colucci, Kazarowski, McKenzie, Martin on ice. Puck is down. We're ready to roll. Stanstead with possession. And that puck's going to get stuck in all the water they've dumped. Kazarowski with a little bit of a jump here. Kazarowski, that puck stuck again off of Colucci's skate. And now Hewer's going to dump it back down in. Keeping it out. Hewer keeping it in. There we go. Centering pass. This is the mark. Kazarowski going down into the corner. That puck is not moving well in this water. Bell Tire needing to take advantage here of some misplay. Caught down and thrown down. This is going to be defended by Martin. Drop pass. And Martin takes him wide. Puck got stuck in the water down there. Stuck again. And now coming up through. Martin defending. And that puck is going to not slide. It is not sliding at all on this ice. Dobbs the defending here. Dobbs and Martin now stepped up. Dobbs sending it up the half wall. Collected in by Stanstead. Stanstead going down deep. Picked up by Dobbs. Now by McKenzie. McKenzie trying to move it around. Up top for Stanstead. Point to point. Shot in. Blocked by Martin and turned aside by Streeter. Sent ahead by McKenzie, and that's going to go the length. Tipped out. No icing. Bell Tire's going to go for a line change. That's going to bring out Caitlin, Flanagan, Morton, Evans, Cruciano, and Markovich. Going across. Evans getting in stride, and Stanstead tipping it ahead. Picked up by Caitlin. Sent ahead off of Stanstead's skate. And Caitlin's going to go down off the boards and get it into the Stanstead zone momentarily before they bring it back out to neutral. Cross ice, chipped in. It's going to be chased down by Morton. Morton going around behind the net, picked up by Flanagan. Flanagan sending it back rink wide, looking for Cruciano, picked up by Morton. Morton sending it ahead to Evans. Evans trying to hit Clemens. Clemens now in a foot race. Stanstead's goalie playing that up the boards. Picked up by Flanagan. That's going to go up into the netting. Freeze play, and we'll have a draw just outside of the Bell Tire zone. So Hewer on ice with Colucci, Kazarowski, Caitlin Flanagan, and Morton. Puck is down. Hewer tied up. Flanagan sending it wide to Morton. Morton chipping it ahead. Down into the Stanstead zone momentarily. Stanstead with possession, coming back up to the neutral. Flanagan gets her stick on it, picked up by Colucci. Colucci backhand into a Stanstead player. Now picked up by Morton behind her net, sending it around for Flanagan. Flanagan chipping ahead to Hewer. Hewer pushing through, trying to get it into the Stanstead zone. Stanstead now coming back the other way, blocked by Morton down into the corner. Kazarowski. Morton. Kazarowski at the half wall. She's going to send it to length. That will be an icing. Oh, sorry, icing waived. And a change happening for Bell Tire, so that's going to bring out Dobbs, Agve, Markovich. Shot blockered up into the netting by Streeter. 13:58 on the clock. Puck is down. Dobbs won that back. Flanagan sending it around to Agve. Agve off the wall, chipping it to Dobbs. Dobbs going ahead to Markovich. Markovich with a little bit of room. Markovich. Shot goes wide into the corner. Sending it around. Agve jumping in. Agve in the corner. Stanstead with possession now. Behind their own net. Stanstead moving up to the half wall. Up to center. Into neutral. Clemens jumped in on ice there. So with Evans. Pull back shot. Goes over top of the net. Clemens in the half wall here. Battling Stanstead. Stanstead up top. Going D to D. Stanstead down low into the corner. Bell Tire zone. Pushing it back up top. Going back D to D. Stanstead walking in. Shot blocked by Clemens. Clemens trying to get a step on it. And now Evans with the puck. Stanstead regains possession. Going up to the point. Now picked up by Cruciano. Half wall is Stanstead. Cruciano. Stanstead going back up top. Stanstead sending it around into the slot. And that's going to be a hooking penalty on Cruciano. Beltire needs to touch this puck as they go to change their goalie. There'll be 6 players on the ice. That's not too many men. That is done on purpose and intentionally by Stansted. Going up, and that is finally touched down by Beltire. So that'll put Beltire onto their 6th or 7th penalty kill. All right, Dobbs, Agbe, Martin, Mackenzie Flanagan out for Beltire. 2 minutes on the Cruciano penalty. Stansted up top, walking in, sending it down low. Caitlin getting a stick on it. Sorry, that's Caitlin out there, not Mackenzie. My apologies. Sending it across D to D. Now down low, shot in. That's going to find the back of the net. That's going to put Stansted up 3-0 here. Beltire looking to find the back of the net here with 12 minutes and 14 seconds on the clock. They got some work to do, but let's go, girls. Bellucci, Hewer, Kazarowski, Martin, Morton on ice for Beltire. Puck is down. Stansted dropping it back into their D. 1 point D to D. Shifting it ahead. Stepped in by Martin. Stansted tries to send it down low. Chased by Morton. Round to the other corner. Up the wall. Kazarowski to chase. D to D. Bellucci getting a stick on it. Bellucci picking up the puck. Stansted walking in. Into the slot. Disrupted by Kazarowski. And Hewer. Now Morton. Kazarowski. Getting it pushed out. Out to neutral. Stansted with possession. 1 point to point here. Martin defending. Hewer on it as well. Hewer shifting that puck down below the Beltire net. Picked up by Martin. Martin backhanding up to Bellucci. Bellucci getting it chipped out. Clemens chasing. Stansted with possession now. Defended by Martin. And Stansted going across ice. Morton getting her stick on it. Martin taking people down in front of the net. And Stansted walking in. That shot's going to find the back of the net. That puts Stansted up 4. 11-11 on the clock. All right, Beltire line change is going to bring out Dobbs, Agbe, Markovich, Mackenzie Flanagan, and Bowman. Puck is down. Stansted with possession. D to D they go. Back down into their own zone. Now gaining neutral. Skating up through. Crossing the line into the Beltire zone. Defended by Bowman. Up the boards. Missing its mark. And Markovich in a foot race. Down behind their net is Stansted. Coming across center. Going up. Gaining the zone. Chased by Dobbs. Off the back wall. Bowman moving it around to the half wall. And up the boards, it goes to the point. Bellucci chasing Dobbs. Bellucci's going to gain possession here. Skating up through neutral. Gaining the zone. Bellucci turning the corner. Trying to get a centering pass. Beltire went for a line change. Kazarowski, Hewer back out on ice for Beltire. We're going to have another penalty coming here for Beltire. That's going to come down as we touch up. And Beltire is going to have Kazarowski in the box. So as Beltire starts back up on this penalty kill here, we're going to have Caitlin Flanagan out with Martin, Hewer, Agbe. Puck is down. Chipped back to Stansted. Martin defending, gets her stick on it at the half wall, chases them out. Stansted circling. Number 8 shot goes wide and picked up by Hewer in the corner. Picked up by Agbe. And Stansted regains possession here at the point, at the half wall. Now going back to their points. Back and forth. Going down low at the hash marks. Defended by Caitlin. Back up top to the point. Going across. Down low. Centering pass is going to be cleared out by Martin. And going back across. Sending it down low. Walking in. Short angled shot. Goes up. I swear that hit the netting, but play continues. Stansted down at the half wall. Walking in. And they're going to drop it off. Coming back the opposite way. Back up top. Down low. We're going to have a penalty, a roughing on Stansted. That should put Beltire. This will be even strength for 1 minute and 5 seconds. I'm sorry, that'll be even strength for 55 seconds. It'll put Beltire onto a power play for 1 minute and 5 seconds with 9 minutes exactly on the clock. This draw is going to happen inside the Stansted zone. Beltire looking to even up here. Dobbs, Markovich, Martin, Flanagan, McKenzie on ice for Beltire. Puck is down. Dobbs tied up at the hash mark. Stansted walking out, cutting it off is Martin, keeping that puck in neutral. Markovich on the hunt here. Dobbs coming around. Stansted gaining the zone, defended by McKenzie. Back up top. Down low, shot in, blocked by, I think, Stansted's own player, and cleared by Dobbs. That's going to go down for an icing. As we get going back again, Markovich, she looks like she's going out for a change. Agbe coming out with Dobbs, Martin, and Mackenzie Flanagan. All right, puck is down. Dobbs tied up. Trying to pick it free. That puck stuck at the hash mark. Picked free by Martin and Agbe. Agbe walking out. Agbe chipping it off the boards. Looking to gain a little bit of momentum here. Coming across. Flanagan. And now this is going to be picked up by Martin. Down behind the net. Martin sending it ahead to Palucci. Palucci coming across ice here. Beltire penalty kill is over. Kazarowski on ice. Beltire at full strength. Power play time for 58 seconds. That puck down behind the Stansted net. Picked free by Kazarowski. Kazarowski hits the brakes. Picked up by Agbe. Agbe going up the wall, trying to find Kazarowski. Agbe picking it free, getting it up top to Flanagan. Flanagan walking in. Shot is going to be blocked aside, picked up by Martin. And now chipped ahead for Flanagan. Down deep into the Stansted zone. 30 seconds on the penalty on the power play. Kazarowski walking out with it. Sending it around to Palucci. Palucci trying to chip it up to Martin. Couldn't quite make it up there. Loses their stick in the process, and that goes deep as Stansted clears. Played ahead by Schroeder up to Flanagan. Beltire on a line change. Going wide to Markovich. And back across to Flanagan. Flanagan dumps it down deep as time expires on the power play. Markovich going up top to Martin. Martin's shot in is going to be gloved by Stansted. Line change for Beltire is going to bring out Caitlin Flanagan and Morton. Dobbs Hewer. Markovich. Stansted with possession. Going up top, and that's going to roll past Flanagan's stick. Caitlin moving around behind the net to Morton. Morton going back the other way, finding Markovich at the half wall. Markovich sending it up. Stansted gains possession off the shin of Dobbs and picked up by Morton in the corner. Up top is Stansted going across D to D. Shot in. Blocker aside by Streeter. Picked up by Hewer. Hewer goes down below the Beltire net. Morton going to try and push it along for Markovich. Markovich trying to get it up top and does. That's going to go wide of the net and be down for an icing. 5 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in this period and the game. Just so we're clear, this iPad was at 100% at the start of this game, and it's at 44% now. Stanstead going up top, point to point. Shot, misfired, goes down into the corner, picked up by Caitlin Flanagan to the half wall, looking for Cruciano. Evans going back up top, finding Cruciano, who's going to freeze it at the half wall. And Evans is going to jump back in. I feel like we've had this play 5 or 6 times today. Morton down into the other corner. Going to pick it up, shoot it up to Clemens. Clemens backhands it out of the zone. Chased by Cruciano. Now Evans going wide at Stanstead. Stanstead trying to get it deep. Unable to. Caitlin Flanagan going wide, finding Clemens on the boards. Icing wave played by Stanstead's goalie. And going up top into neutral, Stanstead. They're going to dump it down deep. Morton and Bowman on ice for Beltire's D. Morton sending it around to Bowman. Bowman backhanding up to Cruciano. Cruciano is going to freeze it, where her and Evans are going to step back into a battle at the half wall. I think that must be a design play at this point. And Stanstead loses an edge, and Beltire gets that cleared out. That's going to make its way down for an icing. All right. On the line change for Beltire, Markovich, Agbe, Dobbs, Mackenzie Flanagan, and Bowman on ice for Beltire. Dobbs on the draw, puck one back. Flanagan sending it around the opposite way for Agbe, who gets it chipped out. Markovich trying to get a stick on it. Played back up by Stanstead in the half wall, coming across the hash mark. Good block by Streeter. Coming up is, Agbe. Agbe chipping it ahead for Markovich. Markovich gaining the zone. Markovich centering pass gets blocked by Stanstead behind their net. They circle back around. Coming back up ice. That puck pass disrupted by Dobbs. At the half wall is Flanagan. And down into the corner. Trying to pick it free out from underneath the Stanstead players. Shot in, blocked by Streeter. Picked up by Dobbs and sent out. Up top goes Stanstead. Stanstead going around. Short side blocked by Mackenzie Flanagan. Slot shot goes wide. Sent back in. Now down into the corner. Played out by Dobbs. Up to Stanstead's point. Walking in. Shot's going to go wide of the net. Roll around. Get held in by Stanstead. Going point to point. Pressured by Palucci in the slot. Shot blocked by McKenzie. Picked up by Agbe. Agbe out the wall. That's going to roll down for an icing. And that'll put us at 3 minutes and 32 seconds on the clock. We're going to have Caitlin Flanagan, Martin, Hewer, Kazarowski, Palucci on ice for Beltire. Hewer on the draw. Puck is down. Centering pass. Went across. Nobody home. Picked up by Palucci. Palucci going wide to Kazarowski. Kazarowski with a little bit of a step here. Sends it in. Kazarowski's going to catch her own pass in on. It's going to come back up to the corner here. Stanstead trying to pick it free. And they send it around the opposite way. Going up to their half wall. Sending it rink wide. Picked up by Hewer. Lost it at her feet. Stanstead regained possession at center ice. Caitlin on defense here. Gets sent wide. Picked up by Hewer. Hewer's going to go off the board. Stanstead collects at the point. Sent back down deep behind the Beltire net. It's going to be chased around by Caitlin Flanagan. Sent up the boards. Finding Kazarowski. Kazarowski going wide. Looking for Clemens. Stanstead with possession now, dumping it back down deep into the Beltire zone. That's just going to get covered up by Streeter. Freeze play. 2:39 on the clock. All right, on this draw is Evans. Stanstead with possession. Evans in with Clemens, Cruciano, Martin, and Caitlin. Centering pass, turned aside. It's defended by Martin as it gets pushed back out up top. Stanstead going wide, picked up. Martin with a block there as the one-time shot, and then covered up by Streeter on the rebound off the back wall. Line change is going to bring in Agbe, Dobbs, Markovich. Dobbs on the draw, won that back. Martin with possession down in the corner, sending it around to Caitlin. Caitlin's going to send it the length of the ice. That'll be wide, and we will come back down for an icing. 2:09 remaining in this game. Dobbs on the draw. Puck is down. Stanstead with possession, down in, wide of the net. Picked up by Markovich on the half wall. Sent back in by Stanstead. Stanstead was disrupted by Markovich. Mackenzie Flanagan sending it around for Morton. Morton trying to chip it ahead, looking for Agbe. Centering pass by Stanstead, misses its mark, tipped back out. And Stanstead going back up top to their point. Now back down to the half wall. Cycling through, going wide. Down low. Centering pass disrupted by Morton. Now in the slot, that puck goes wide of the net. 1:30 on the clock. Coming around the throws in play. Not sure what was going on down there. There's a lot of bodies on the ice and sticks on the ice. And Markovich is getting a penalty. I think that's 9 penalties against Beltire today. Minute 27 on the clock. It's going to be a 2 and a 10 actually on Markovich. Whatever they called was head contact, so that's going to be Cruciano to serve the 2. So Beltire is going to be playing at a deficit here for the remainder of the game. Stanstead with possession, walking in, shot in, covered up by Streeter. All right, on ice is going to be the Flanagan's, Dobbs, Agbe. Sent around by Mackenzie to Agbe at the half wall. That puck coming out free. Going up top. Collected in by Stanstead. Stanstead cycling. That pass disrupted by Dobbs at the half wall. Stanstead dropping it down low. And back up top. Going D to D. Back up into the slot. Shot in wide of the net. Picked up by Stanstead. 45 seconds remaining in the game. Up top, missed pass by Stanstead is going to make them reset down low. Going back up top to the point. Down back low to the left of Streeter. Centering pass across, disrupted by Agbe. Back across to the left of Streeter is wide and missed. Back up top for Stanstead. Stanstead at the point. Down low to the right of Streeter. Shot in. Is going to hit the crossbar, and the ref instinctively blew the whistle to freeze play. That is not a goal. There's going to be 18.6 seconds remaining. Puck is down. Stanstead up at the point, trying to walk in. Shot in. Turned back out by Beltire. Stanstead coming down low. Centering pass disrupted by Mackenzie Flanagan in the slot. Is Stanstead. Shot goes wide of the net, and that will be the end of this game. So Beltire's gonna lose this one 4-0. That'll put them at 1-1-1 on the weekend. And we'll see about the standings here after the games get played today and figure out what happens next for our girls.